I'll ask some questions. Actually, what is the problem in Afghanistan now?
So Taliban has taken control of Afghanistan, control over Afghanistan. So the allegations of Taliban that it violates human rights and there's no peace. So because of the earlier regime, Taliban governments, the Taliban's rule has been very vi- violative of human rights. So the West and the world is so after this issue, sir. Uh,
Okay,
In on this because of this latest UNSC resolution uh, is passed to give some solace to this problem, sir.
okay, okay. No, actually, I'll put it in a very crisp manner.
Okay.
Now, you're familiar. Taliban had taken over Afghanistan in August 2021, following the withdrawal of the US. Now, ever since, uh, a major humanitarian crisis has been brewing in Afghanistan. Currently, the problem number one, the challenge for the entire world is that 98% of Afghans are staring at starvation. 98% of Afghans are staring at starvation. So a food crisis is brewing there. That's the major emergency situation. And uh, essentially, in the very short term, to tide over this food crisis and to address other problems, that the UN Security Council had passed this resolution. Uh, I mean, mandating a United Nations mission for Afghanistan. Now, what do you think are the other problems that Afghanistan is right now facing?
Sir, the Taliban is against women's rights, especially the education, denial of education, and even it is against working women. So it doesn't allow women to work. Apart from
Okay,
this, there are human right violations and violence, sir.
okay, okay, okay. Let's put it this way. Now, Taliban, you are familiar, is a Sunni fundamentalist outfit. It does not believe in democratic values, uh, and it believes in a patriarchal mindset. Now, first and foremost, Taliban actually persecutes religious minorities. That's the first thing. It uses brutal violence against them. And Taliban also prohibits education and employment for women. It excludes girls and women from education as well as employment. And then Taliban is essentially Pashtun dominated in terms of ethnicity. Remember, Afghanistan is a multi ethnic society. There are other major ethnicities like Tajiks, Uzbeks, etc. And I mean, this is unrepresentative. The current Taliban government is unrepresentative of the Afghanistan's diverse society. So that's also a major issue. So there is no what we call inclusive government in Afghanistan. That's the major problem. And a government which believes in human rights, democratic values, etc. That's lacking in Afghanistan. That's the major problem. Okay. Now another question actually. What is actually happening? What is happening to the Afghan government with respect to, I mean, Taliban government with respect to finances? Any idea on that?
Sir, yes. Uh, it is said that almost two-thirds of Afghan expenditure is internationally funded, Afghan government's expenditure. Now that because Taliban has come to power, this international funding has stopped. And as a result, Afghan economy has been in a serious crisis. There is a food shortage and and a serious humanitarian crisis because of this.
Okay. So Taliban government is actually short of revenues
Yes, sir.
because donations have dried up, number one, and even Afghanistan central bank's assets have also been frozen.
Yes, sir.
So, so I mean, this is actually perhaps creating a humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan. Now, very importantly, Taliban government in Afghanistan is not recognized. Remember, neither in any international organization nor at the bilateral level. Still, the previous government is recognized as the legitimate government of Afghanistan, not the Taliban government. And please remember, in its previous avatar, that is between 1996 and 2001, Taliban government in Afghanistan was recognized by only three countries: uh, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and United Arab Emirates. In its current avatar, not even these three countries have recognized, not even Pakistan, as of now. So that's a major problem. Now, in spite of this lack of recognition, international recognition, of course, the international community is engaged with Taliban government diplomatically. Now, uh, this lack of recognition is also a major issue. Now, okay, these are the major issues. So, so what is the purpose of this UN mission for Afghanistan that UNSC's UN Security Council has authorized?
Sir, first to protect the people from food crisis and to prevent starvation,
Okay,
and secondly to help Afghans, especially the people from who are under the clutches of poverty, to help them.
okay. Now, of course, as you have said rightly, the UN mission's first mandate is to uh, ensure a seamless supply of food to Afghan people, uh, essentially to bail out the Afghan people, number one. Number two, of course, even without recognition, international recognition, the UN mission is expected to engage the Taliban government. Now, by actually offering food aid and maybe other kinds of aid, perhaps the international community will be able to bring about a change of heart in the Taliban. That is, force the Taliban to accept some reforms. Reforms of what? With respect to how it treats women and girls, how it treats religious minorities, how it treats ethnic minorities. In one word, respect human dignity and human rights. I mean, this could be wishful, but by coming up with aid, by maybe actually gradually defreezing assets that Afghanistan government owns, of course, subject to Taliban actually accepting these reforms. So this is what I think the UN mission is expected to do. So largely, this is in the larger interests of Afghan people rather than this brutal Taliban regime. That's the idea. Okay. Finally, what do you think is the way forward in the final analysis for Afghanistan?
So peace and stability in the region is very essential, not just for the country, not just for Afghanistan, but even for the neighbors and overall peace in the world. So, the Taliban should first give up violence, agree to a ceasefire agreement, and even protect human rights by engaging diplomatically and with other nations and even with the UN.
Okay.
And sir, Taliban regime, as you just said, is not inclusive. So I think uh, it should be more inclusive, representing its people and other political parties or the ethnic minorities and different ethnicities, uh, and even follow democracy by following the elections or having a transitional government in place first and then going for elections and having a permanent government, and this secures their international recognition as well.
Very good, very good. Excellent. Excellent, Tejaswini. Now, in one word, what is, I think the first step is having a transitional government that is inclusive, that is representative of the Afghans' diverse society. That's the first step. Now, perhaps only then it will get recognition from the international community. And holding free and fair elections under this transitional government, under international observers. Of course, prior to this, it is important, please remember, restoring the constitution of Afghanistan. So, all these are actually steps, perhaps which we will see, which we hope to see in due course in a phased manner, eventually restoring peace and stability in Afghanistan. And meanwhile, Taliban must itself eschew violence as also prevent any outfit from using Afghan soil for terrorism or terrorist attacks. Uh, as you know, ISIS is, of course, trying to make its presence felt in Afghanistan or any similar terrorist outfits. So, I mean, this is the ideal way out. Uh, uh, Clear, Tejaswini? I think you have answered this very well. Any more doubts on from you?
Sir, one question. What should be the role of these regional powers who are always trying to intervene in Afghan issue, especially be it Pakistan or China or even superpowers like Russia?
Yeah, the problem is each of these powers, include two superpowers, China, India, Pakistan, and to some extent even Iran, each of these powers has got its own agenda, its own vital national interests to promote and to protect. And I think in this great power rivalry, it's the Afghan people who are actually becoming the scapegoats, victims. So, of course, every nation state tries to secure its own interests. That's, of course, a fact of the harsh life. Now, as you are familiar, uh, we India, of course, have been friends of Afghanistan. We have funded development projects in Afghanistan, from its national parliament building to multi-purpose projects to road projects, etc. And of course, we are expected to contribute significantly to the reconstruction of Afghanistan once things improve in Afghanistan. So that's the idea.
So, other regional powers, what should their role be, sir?
I mean, here, please remember, expecting a consensus, reconciling the national interests of each power, great power or regional power. I mean, that's not an easy task. So it requires, I think, some concessions on the part of each power, so that Afghanistan does not become a geopolitical threat to any of these powers. That is in the larger interest of each power, actually. Though Pakistan supports Taliban, but Pakistan itself has actually, I mean, has been facing terrorism, as the recently, what you call recent terrorist attack in Peshawar, for instance, highlights. So some reconciliation is required.
Okay, sir. Okay. And sir, one more question. With Russia-Ukraine crisis in the spotlight, this Afghanistan issue has been sidelined. However, with the latest UNSC resolution, this again has garnered some international attention or global attention. How should this be seen, sir? Now, because there are two major problems, and the attention has shifted to Russia-Ukraine, and however, Afghanistan is still under problems. So, how should this be
Now,
seen, sir?
when you compare, for instance, Ukraine crisis with Afghan crisis, there is a huge difference. Remember, the Ukraine war is fought on the doorsteps of great powers. Remember, Russia, a superpower, at least a former superpower, it's been asserting itself of late over the last 7 8 years. So, in real terms, it is a superpower with awesome nuclear capabilities. And remember, Western Europe, UK, France, Germany, and the United States, all these, it's a kind of eyeball to eyeball confrontation between great powers. So, I mean, the risk of a nuclear flare up, that is what you call staring at the humanity in the context of Ukraine, but not in Afghanistan. In Afghanistan, it's more of a threat from non-state actors, low intensity conflicts, etc., but not that what you call escalation to the nuclear level. So, in terms of geopolitical importance, Ukraine is, I think, a major crisis compared with Afghanistan. I mean, unless uh, these great powers actually pull back from the brink in Ukraine. Clear?
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Yeah. Any more doubts, Tejaswini?
No, sir.
Okay, then uh, we'll close the session for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really insightful. Actually, I had some doubts on this topic, and now it is very clear. The whole issue is now very clear. Thank you.
Thank you.